Hello and welcome to the Punter, the show that keeps you up to date with all the sports betting action across the sporting calendar. On today's show, we'll be taking a look at all of the Premier League fixtures over the course of this weekend, and we'll be delving into the Champions League and Europa League. Of course, the draw for Europe's top two competitions was made yesterday. I'm pleased to say that Gordon Watson-Flash is with me in the studio. Gordon, sounds like you've been getting into the swing of the Christmas things already.
Yeah, a little bit too much singing, a bit of a croaky voice, but I'm sure I'll battle through. It'll be fine. Bet
Butler, Nigel Celia's with us as well. Nigel, how's your week gone so far?
It's always Christmas in the Butler house, so don't worry about me. I'm fine, absolutely fine. I'm looking forward to an absolute massive game weekend, the Premier League action, and also giving you all the updates on the Champions League and the Europa League after what was a fantastic draw for if you're not, especially if you're not a British supporter. But anyway, fantastic, some great games to look forward to on that as well.
No doubt about that. That, of course, is in the new year, but all the prices have developed since the draw yesterday. And we've got to say, as the Butler's already pointed out, Flash, it's not been kind, really, has it, to the UK sides that have made it through to the knockout stages. Celtic take on Juventus. It's Manchester United, of course, against Real Madrid, tie the round. And Arsenal against Bayern Munich. There is, well, not a small chance that all three could crash out.
More than a small chance. I look at it and I think that probably Manchester United having the home leg in the second leg. So I would say Man United probably the best chance, and that's a slim one at that.
Yeah, it is indeed, because Real Madrid, we know they're off the pace in La Liga. You tend to feel that they've got all their eggs in the Champions League basket this time around. It's different for Manchester United, isn't it?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think Real Madrid are really concentrating on this. I think they know that La Liga's gone. So for me, they'll be really tough to beat.
Let's get the outright prices as it stands after the draw was made. Here's the Butler.
Yeah, a couple of big movers on the market, and obviously Manchester United were one. Manchester United were 14-1. They've been pushed out from 14-1 from a 10-1 shot out to about a 14-1 shot. Barcelona still head the market here at 9-4. They've always been around that kind of price. Real Madrid just slightly pushed out by the bookies after being drawn. Manchester United, they're 5-1 shot. Bayern Munich playing Arsenal, they're 7-1. Nothing really changed there. And then you have Juventus into 12-1. We're as big as 20-1 after being given the draw. They're probably, I'm not going to be disrespectful for Celtic fans, but that's what people wanted to play. Juventus playing Celtic, probably on paper one of the easiest tasks. And PSG into 22-1 from 33-1 after their draw. But Juventus, big movers from 20-1 into 12. Barcelona still head the market at 9-4. And Man United, the big movers, the big drifters, out from a 10-1 shot, 8-1 with some bookmakers, to almost double the price, 14-1. But if you're a Bayern Munich fan, you play Arsenal. But if you're a Juventus fan, you'll be very happy with the draw.
Yeah, if you're a Juventus backer as well, you'd be happy with the draw as well. And Flash, you put up Juventus at the start of the competition, right about 25-1 shot. So even though we like to see the British sides go through, Celtic are going to find it tough against you.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that Celtic will just match up beautifully for Juve, both at Celtic Park and obviously in Italy as well. I think Juve, they'll go from strength to strength. And you need a bit of luck, and the draw's got to be kind. And so far it has been for them.
Bayern Munich have been touted around as well as a team to follow. I mean, Arsenal are going to find it really tough. They've just been too inconsistent domestically. I mean, are they better equipped? Some people say they are better equipped to deal with the Champions League.
Well, it comes down to defence, Dan, because the big thing is with Arsenal, they can score against anybody. But it's whether the defence turns up on the night. Over 2 legs, Arsenal, I mean, it's going to be 2 cracking ties because neither of them want to go on the back foot. They both want to attack. So for me, Arsenal have got it all to do. The away leg, second leg, it's going to be tough for them.
We've got a bit of a downer on the British sides, unfortunately. Have the bookmakers. Let's take a look at 1 or 2 specials. Butler.
Yeah, I mean, we have been in this position last season where Chelsea were playing some very tough matches. Everyone said, oh, they're going to get beat. They went to Barcelona, obviously won there. They were behind against Napoli. So it's not this similar position for people who are following British sides. Man United and Arsenal both to go out 5-4. Obviously, they're playing Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, respectively. 2 very tough asks. But Arsenal have got goals in them. They've got goals in them. They can score goals, especially the away goal may be the problem. But Bayern Munich at the moment are probably the most free-flowing scoring side in European football. All the British teams to go out, that's obviously Arsenal, Manchester United and Celtic, only a 7-4 chance. That shows you what a real tough ask it is for these clubs. Man United and Arsenal to go through to the last quarter-finals, 7-1. So that shows you, if you're looking to go out, it's 5-4. To go through, 7-1. And this one here, all 3 to go for it. I know we're in the festive season. I know we have gifts. I know we've got presents. This is no presents. This is no gift at 40 to 1. It might look big on paper, but 40 to 1 for those 3 teams to qualify to the quarterfinals, I don't think you'll be back in that. I think I'd want at least twice the amount of that, and maybe even 3 times. But it shows you what a tough ask. Man United and Arsenal, both 5 to 4, not to make the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Not looking good.
Of those 4 specials, best bet for you would we go 5 to 4 United and Arsenal to go out, or would we maybe take the 7 to 4 to?
Well, yeah, the 5 to 4 is a non-runner for me. If you're going to say that Man United and Arsenal are going out, then you've got to lump Celtic in there and take the 7 to 4, which I think is a bit skinny, to be honest. But I think it's probably the likely of the 3 sides. I think Man United might be the ones that go through.
Should be an interesting one, shouldn't it? Real Madrid have knocked Manchester United out last couple of occasions that they met in the Champions League. Let's move on to the Europa League. Always difficult to know exactly what teams are going to drop down. When we talked about this earlier on in the season, now we know the teams that have gone down, Flash. I mean, there's not been that much movement in the market, really, because Atletico Madrid towards the top end of the market anyway, and they still lead the market. And when you look at the British sides that are through, or the Premier League sides that are through, some have got easier tasks than others, you'd say.
Yeah, and it's one of them where they've already had like a long season, and then they've got to go for it all again. I don't know how many of these sides actually really want to be in the Europa League. You've got to look at Atletico Madrid. Chelsea. If Chelsea turn up, and the right Chelsea turns up, they can go ahead and win this, if they want to.
Rafa's going to want to win it, isn't he? He's going to play out a full-strength side.
Yeah, but there again, the Premier League at the weekends, because obviously they'll play on Thursday nights, so that means they'll then have to play late on the Sundays. So for me, I don't know if their squad is big enough or enough depth to be able to cope with them both. And so would you want to upset a Champions League place for the sake of a Europa League? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and also we don't know who's going to come in January just yet, so punters potentially could be keeping their powder dry. Let's see how the market shapes up at the moment. Butler.
Yeah, I think exactly right you were saying there, boys. I mean, I think you compare the money being bet on this compared to the Champions League, it'll be a fraction of the amount of wage, and the reasons why exactly what you said. If you want to back up Atletico Madrid at 7 to 1, what price would you be without Falcao if he left? And if he went to Chelsea, what price would Chelsea be? Big things to worry about in the new year. I think the team and the form of these sides in February will be a lot different to what you see now. I think Chelsea will have new personnel, and Flash could be right. 15 to 2 Chelsea could be a massive price if they take this competition seriously. But I remember being in exactly the same position this time last year, and we said Manchester City at 6 to 1 could be a big price if they took it seriously, and they went out straight away. They didn't take it seriously. Inter Milan 12 to 1. The team I can't pronounce, Anzi at 14 to 1. Napoli 18 to 1. Will Cavani stay? Tottenham, I think they've got a chance out of all the British sides in this competition, English sides in this competition. 18 to 1 could be some value there. I think 18 to 1, and also teams are like Liverpool 20 to 1. They go to Zenit St. Petersburg, a tough match for them. But Ajax, the team that gave Man City a massive run around in the Champions League, played some great football, a good young side, going there with the final being in Amsterdam, and they will play Chelsea if the 2 teams meet. And at 33 to 1, I wouldn't put you off back in Ajax for this competition. Madrid head the market at 7 to 1, but I bet you know if Falcao goes in January, and I don't think they will be favourites. And I think Chelsea at 15 to 2 could be the value at this stage as well.
Yeah, interesting that Atletico Madrid did drop points in their group stage. They didn't in the previous campaign. Of course, they went on to win it. They're looking to win it again. But if Falcao leaves, you do feel that they may well struggle. Chelsea, interesting. Spurs take on Lyon. Of course, they will have a chance. Newcastle against Metalist Kharkiv in their next knockout game. I mean, as you say, it's so difficult to know exactly what the managers are going to do. Butler's talking about Ajax, the finals at the Amsterdam Arena. I mean, that's a tick in the right box, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, and that's where Bayern Munich did the same last year, obviously in the Champions League. But you've got to look at these sides, and you've got to know who's actually going to take it seriously. You know that Ajax are, so that is the right tick. Tottenham, I think the Butler's right.
Andre Villas-Boas has got a good record in the competition.
And he's got a good squad. They score goals. They play excellently away from home because they love the counter-attack. So for me, I think Tottenham at 18 to 1, I think they'll probably be the best of the British teams.
Yeah, it'd be too much of a surprise if an English side won the Europa League. Of course, Fulham got to the final not so long ago. Let's get the latest when it comes to the specials on winning nationality. Butler.
Yeah, unlike the Champions League, we really fancied English chances in this competition. We're 9 to 4 to win the competition. Obviously, we've got probably more teams in it than anyone else. We have Chelsea, we have Newcastle, we have Liverpool and Tottenham, and and that's all. I mean, Italy are 21-5. They're already a little bit of quality of teams. And Napoli, Inter Milan, giants of European football in the past. Spain 19-4. Now they've only got 2 representatives, Levante and Atletico Madrid. And if they both win their game, they will play each other. So I think that's a little bit short, Spain. I think if you think that one of the Spanish sides is going to win it, realistically, you're much better off to back Atletico Madrid to win the competition 7-1. Russia, a 6-1 shot. The Russians, they've got some good sides in this, and they've got proven pedigree in this competition. Germany 7, Ukraine 19-2. But England head the market here. We're expected to bomb out in the Champions League. We're the favourites to win the Europa League, but I wouldn't be rushing. I think Russia at 6-1 may represent a little bit of value with some teams with money to spend, and you know they'll be trying this competition big time.
Yeah, and they've got to make their mark, haven't they, on the European stage? Yes, we know that Zenit won this competition when they beat Rangers when I think it was the last edition of the UEFA Cup a few years ago. But with likes of Anzi Makakala, who have spent so much money, you feel that there's a little bit more pressure on maybe those sides to perform. And Zenit will fancy their chances against Liverpool.
Yeah, but the big problem I have with any of them sides are that they have a winter break. So that when we come back...
This is almost their first game, isn't it?
Exactly. And you've got to take that into account because they are going to be rusty. It is a case of they're not going to be full swing. And for me, I'll be looking at the English sides. I'll take Chelsea and Tottenham against the field. Yeah,
Chelsea and Tottenham certainly have got good pedigree. And I think Rafa Benitez will want to target this competition. When you look at the competitions he's still in, well, the Capital One Cup, almost a gimme, you'd say, for Chelsea. But this is the one where he could make his mark, isn't it?
Without a doubt. But they've got to bring someone in to take the load off of Torres, because Torres plays week in, week out. And now he has got Sturridge. They say Sturridge might leave, so it's all going to be about the personnel come the end of January. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see who Chelsea buy in, and if they can play in the Europa League. Well, many thanks to Flash and the Butler for now. That's all we've got time for when it comes to the European action that comes up in a few months' time, but of course all the market well developed over the last 24 hours or so. Coming up next, we delve into this week's Premier League action. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Punter as we endeavour to pinpoint all the best bets over the course of this weekend in the Premier League. Lots to look forward to, some key fixtures, and we kick off on Saturday lunchtime at the DW Stadium. It's Wigan versus Arsenal. Let's hear from Nigel, the bet butler, with the latest match prices.
Yeah, this time last week we were seeing Arsenal involved in an absolute crisis. They come out, they win 5-2, and if they've got results go their way again at the weekend, they could be third in the Premier League. Crisis, what crisis? Arsene Wenger saying. Arsenal 8-11 to win this game. They are going to be very, very, very popular. 8-11. We always go on about the perils of backing the odds on the ways in the Premier League, but Arsenal 5-2 victors against Reading. Wigan will always give you a chance. You've always got a chance. They always score goals. I think goals on the menu. We'll come on to that in a minute. The draw is a 3-1 shot. Wigan are 4-1 to pull off a shock here, but Arsenal's record in this fixture is pretty good. They've won 4-0 last season, 4-1 2 seasons before that. There's always goals when the two meet, and that 5-2 win at Reading. If results go well, Arsenal up to third. Wigan into the bottom 3. Could this be the year that we can go down? Arsenal will be supported at 8-11. I wouldn't be forming a queue behind my local big betting shop, but I think if I was pushed in the corner and asked which one I've got to put my pens on this week, you've got to go for Arsenal 8-11. No value in Wigan 4s, 3-1 a draw, but it's all about Arsenal for me. At odds on 8-11.
Odds on away from home. Theo Walcott potentially could start up front once again through the middle, as he did against Reading. Is that the right thing for Arsene Wenger to do you think, to win this game, Flash?
Yeah, I think he had the balance 100% right the other night. I know it was only Reading. I know they scored 5 and it could have been 10. But I think they match up brilliantly against Wigan. It'll be an out-and-out football match. Wigan will score. I believe that they will score. But Arsenal, I think, found a little bit more confidence the other night. They found a good blend of having Arteta and Wiltshire sitting, directing play, and then Caffola, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Podolski supporting Walcott. I like it.
It's interesting you say that Wigan will score, because Arsenal still look a little shaky at the back, and they did concede a couple against Reading. Yes, they scored 5, but you always feel that they're gettable at the back.
They were sloppy. They were just. It was too easy. They were just over sloppy, and they had no back line. They had no They'd won the game. So that's the disappointing thing from a managerial point of view. But they just stepped up a gear. And then went on and got the 5th. So I expect Arsenal to win. I think they'll win comfortably. I'd say maybe 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1. We're looking at plenty of goals here. But Wigan have conceded 2 in their last 7, over and under. Surely we've got to go over here.
You have, Dan, I think you have, but bookies aren't going to give you much of a price. 8 to 13. I was expecting a little shorter than that. If you look at the stats in the games, there's been an awful lot of games. 18 goals in the last 4 matches between these two sides, and Wigan have been 30 goals, involving games with 30 goals at home in their 9 fixture seasons. They're averaging more than 3 a game. So that brings over 2.5 goals in here, 8 to 13. I think that's definitely where you're going to be heading. But again, it's not the price you want to be. It's not around about the even money back. Over 3.5 could perhaps be a little bit of value at 6 to 4. I certainly believe there'll be goals. I think there'll be more goals than Arsenal, and I think probably both teams to score could be a good way to play it. If we look at the half-time, full-time market, we saw Arsenal get out the traps against Reading, and they won the half-time and they won the full-time. That was around about a 6 to 4 shot. Tonight, so this game, it's a 7 to 4 shot, slightly bigger. Not for me. I think this could be goals each way in the first half. I think it could be a draw at half-time and Arsenal winning the full-time. That is a 17 to 4 shot. That's where I'll be putting a few shekels on. But Arsenal 7 to 4. I expect lots and lots of goals. I think it's a perfect game to sit and enjoy and have a few bets and trade the game, because I think over one end to the other. But I think Arsenal will win it, and the correct score, I quite like the look of Arsenal winning this 4-1 or maybe even 4-2. I agree with Flash, goals galore. I think half-time, full-time, Arsenal will be popular, but the best way to play it, over 2.5 and over 3.5 goals.
Yeah, watch out for the team news as well, because Wigan are without many defenders at the moment. The likes of Caldwell, it's doubtful. Piscu won't make it. Alcaraz as well, I think, is out. Wigan are decimated at the back. They just haven't got the squad, have they, Flash, really, to deal with Arsenal in a situation like this?
No, and they haven't really got the right type of defenders neither. I mean, their defenders are all attacking defenders, apart from the likes of Caldwell. And if he's not there, then all they can do is get involved in a basketball match. And the one team you don't want them to do that with is Arsenal.
Manchester City versus Reading. Next up, let's get the latest prices. Butler.
We saw a game last week in the Championship where the top team played the bottom team, where Cardiff played Peterborough and Peter pulled off a shock. It's not going to happen again. Manchester City 1 to 7 to win this match. They'll be the shortest price in the Premier League this season against any side. And Reading at 20 to 1 will be the biggest price you can get on the betting exchanges. You'll probably be able to get 33, maybe even 40 to 1. Reading are going to be very, very big outsiders for this match. Probably the second biggest price in a Premier League match in the history since Blackburn went to Manchester United and won. So it was similar time to this last season. The draws are 17 to 2 shot. Man City will win. It's just a question about how many. Reading have conceded an unbelievable amount of goals in their last 6 games. They've gone to Chelsea, who's conceded 4. They've gone to Arsenal, they've played Arsenal, conceded 5. They played Manchester United and conceded 4. And now the champions, they go to the champions. There's goals, goals, goals. Man City 1 to 7. You're not going to get you rich for Christmas, but they will win.
We'll have a look at those overs unders in just a second, but you've got to think that Manchester City will score a few against Reading. Reading were terrible against Arsenal in the first half, at least. I mean, they played 2 up front. They were exposed in midfield. I mean, Brian McDonough's not going to make the same mistake twice. Surely he's got to try and keep it tight.
The big thing now is that Man City can't slip up. So Man City will be absolutely on their mettle every single game now. And if they don't, they're only going to fall further behind. Now, the big thing with me, looking at Man City, I think that if you're just going to want to back Man City, you can maybe give Reading a 2-goal start. I think they'll win by more than two clear goals. So I think you might get a bit of value that way. Man City, I think that after Balotelli maybe going out, Aguero, Tevez, I think they'll get on the score sheet. And I was looking at 4-0.
4-0, according to Flash, when it comes to the game featuring Manchester City and Reading. Let's take a look at one or two of the speciality markets. Butler.
Yeah, it's very hard to make a case for under 2.5, under 3.5, or maybe even under 4.5 in this market. But look at the prices. Over 3.5 goals, 4 to 5. We spoke about this before when we saw the caption come up. Usually that's a 5 to 2 shot. It's 4 to 5 in this case. And that's the kind of prices you get for under 2.5. Under 2.5 is 2 to 7. Oh, sorry, over 2.5 is 2 to 7. They're the kind of prices you get for over 1 to 1.5. And over 1.5, 11 to 1 on. Incredible. You can't really make a case for them betting, but they will happen. There will be goals. Reading have conceded 37 goals this season, and they scored 17 in their last 6 games. So whenever they play, they concede goals. But who's going to score the goal? That's the question you're going to ask. Manchester City is all about the team news. See who plays, see who starts the game. But whenever they play Tevez and they play Aguero up front, they don't lose. And it's no surprise to see these two dominate the markets. Tevez is a 7 to 2 shot. Aguero's a 7 to 2 shot. At the moment, I think Aguero's coming to some bit of form from last season. He was out for a little bit of an injury scare. Tevez has gone off the ball a little bit, not being used as much as he is. Aguero's, for me, should be a little bit shorter. Torres is 7 to 1 shot. And if you fancy someone from Reading, Lafondra 18, Roberts at 20 and Hunt 20. Your best way to play them would be to back them to score any time in the match rather than score the first goal. But Aguero, the favourite for me, I think he slightly has the edge at present form on Tevez. He's banging form. 7 to 2 would be the bet for me, Dan.
Yeah, Balotelli misses out, of course, with injury. No Nasri as well for Manchester City. But as you've said this week and last week, previous couple of weeks really, when Roberto Mancini plays Aguero and Tevez, the two Argentines up front, City usually a different prospect.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they've got so much movement, and what that does is that leaves space for others to go and exploit. I like Aguero, obviously, world star. I mean, you think, people forget he's only like 24-year-old. It's unbelievable. But maybe at a big price, the likes of Kolarov. I looked at the way Arsenal played against Reading the other night, and the fullbacks really got deep into Reading. Kolarov, he'll pull the trigger from 25 yards and in. So for me, Aguero's obvious 7-2, but Kolarov at a big price.
City haven't been as strong at the back as they were last season. And as Butler says, maybe if we look for an anytime goal scorer for Reading, Pogrebniak we didn't speak about then, he could play. Is there anyone you can think maybe on that Reading team sheet that might be able to puncture Joe Hart's goal?
No. I think that there'll be...
it's going to be a winter nil, maybe?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've gone for 4-0, and I just look at Man City not giving them any chance. Just do not give Reading any chance.
Reading, no chance at all, according to the boys here. What about the game at St James's? It's Newcastle against Queen's Park Rangers. Nigel?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this to me is the most intriguing game on the Premier League fixture list on Saturday. I think Newcastle are in this terrible run of form. They've seen their pricing go from 33 to 1 to 8 to 1 and short 6 to 1 with some bookmakers to be relegated this season. This is a side they're obviously pushing for a top four that gave the manager Alan Pardew an 8-year contract on the back of that form. QPR unbeaten under Harry, 4 games, 3 draws, 1 win. Away from home, they will go very defensive. They'll make it very, very hard for a Newcastle side decimated by injuries. At the prices 23 to 20, that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They were even money, their odds on last week. That price is getting bigger and bigger. But you know what? It's still value to me to oppose them. I want to be laying Newcastle in this game. Play on Betfair or Bet Exchanges, lay Newcastle the game. I think the draw could be a runner here at 12 to 5. I certainly, if I was a bookmaker, the team I want to take on this week would be Newcastle. You can back them with me for big, big money. QPR are very resolute. They went up to the North East and got a draw against Sunderland, and I can see them doing very, very similar and frustrating a Newcastle crowd that could turn on them.
Yeah, they've lost 6 of the last 7 in the league, Newcastle. They are a team to take on, according to the Butler. Flash, do you see it the same way?
100% the same way, yeah. I think that QPR could get back-to-back wins. I think we called it about 6 or 7 weeks ago. We thought Newcastle and Sunderland were in freefall. I don't see where Newcastle... I just don't know if they've got the squad anymore. I don't know where the creativity is going to come from. And I see QPR buoyant after last week's win, and I think they'll win.
How's Harry changed it at QPR? He's made them hard to beat, I guess, but only picked up that 1 win so far. They need to pick up more, don't they?
Yeah, they do, but what he's done is he's got his fullbacks not to go roaming. He's tried to keep his back four as a collective back four. Now, first few games of the season, or the first 10 games of the season, the right winger or right back was going beyond the right winger, not getting back in. They weren't picking up from set pieces. Everything was wrong. Now, he's just asking his defenders, just defend. Please, just defend. And they're doing it.
Yeah, and Noah and Troy, the fullbacks, of course, for Queen's Park Rangers, most likely on show at St James's Park. Let's take a look at 1 or 2 of the specials. Butler.
Yeah, we'll look at the over and under market. I don't really expect many goals. QPR have only scored 8 goals in their travels. Under 2.5 goals, 5 to 6. I think that's an absolute great bet. I think both teams will be happy with a draw at this stage, even Newcastle, despite their home crowd getting behind them. But I think under 2.5 goals, we're at 5 to 6. Last season was 1-0 to Newcastle. The last time they met before that was 1-1. Both games under 2.5 goals. If you're looking for a first goal scorer, look at the Newcastle side. There's some doubts about it. I think Amiobi may play. He's a 7 to 1 shot. You couldn't be backing him. Cisse 7 to 1. Tarat is a 10 to 1 shot. 2 goals last week. Mackie 9 to 1. I think that Sean Wright-Phillips will come good very soon. I think he's going to be a big price to score a goal. But I wouldn't put you all off having a few quid on no goal scorer. I can see it's being 0-0.
0-0 potentially at St James's Park. That'll please Harry Redknapp, might even please Alan Pardew, given the state of Newcastle's form at the moment. Much more to come on the punter. We've got further Premier League fixtures to preview, including the big games on Sunday. Don't go away. Welcome back to the punter. Plenty of Premier League action over the course of this weekend. We're hoping to put some cash in your pocket just ahead of Christmas. Next game that we can take a look at is at the St Mary's. It's Southampton. They take on Sunderland. Then the Butler's got the latest match prices.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you asked me the prices game up at the start of the season, I would not be anywhere near the price you see here. 21-20 Southampton, a little bit around about even money, a little bit slightly bigger than that. The draw 12-5, and Sunderland, the team that have been so disappointing, 14-5. Only one win on their travels all season away at Fulham when they were heavily back Fulham for that game. But that was when Hangeland, their key man, got sent off. If it wasn't for that, they were in complete control Fulham of the game. That went and Sunderland got their nose in front. Sunderland come back, they won at Reading. Everyone said, oh, it's all right under the Martin O'Neill. Then they go and lose the next game completely straight after that. Southampton will be very popular, I think, for this game at 21-20, but I think there could be a little bit of value on the draw here at 12-5. Sunderland drawn an awful lot of games away from home. They've drawn 4 this season. Compare that, Southampton have drawn 3 of their home games. I don't think there's much between the two sides, and I think there could be an overreaction this price. I think it's very short, 21-20. I'd want at least 11-8 for the game, and that's why I'm heading towards a low-scoring draw at 12-5.
It's 17th versus 16th in the Premier League. Smells of a 6-pointer. Flash, are you going to go for your beloved Saints? Or are you
without a doubt. Without a doubt, they're all rested up. They were obviously meant to play Chelsea last week. Chelsea were away, so they've had a week off. Adam Lallana's injured. Yeah, that's not a good thing, but that means that Ramirez is going to get more ball because when they both play, they have to share it. I think say it's too much movement, too much creativity, goals throughout their side, and I just think Sunderland, like Newcastle, struggling. So I think that around the even money, well, Southampton win.
Let's get some special, shall we? Overs and unders with the Butler first up.
Yeah, overs and under markets. We'll come on to that. I mean, we're going to start with the first goal scorer. I mean, Ricky Lambert is the favourite there for Southampton at 5-1. He will always be so popular. He's the Luis Suarez for Southampton Football Club. Everyone backs him when he scores the first goal down there at St Mary's. The bookies there do their absolute proverbials. Fletcher's a 7-1 whenever he comes back. Sessegnon at 10-1. Very disappointing this season. And Fraser Campbell on the score sheet last week. He's an 11-1 shot. If we look at the over and under 2.5 goal markets, two contrasting styles. Southampton always score goals, always involved in high scoring matches. Sunderland not usually involved in high-scoring matches. I think Sunderland might come there and frustrate Southampton, and I think their rawness and their lack of quality when they play a Premier League side like this, who just go there and defend, could be a bit of a problem for them. They're not used to that, and I think under 2.5 goals could be the way I'll be heading at 19-20. Flash may be right. Southampton at home should be able to beat this kind of side, but I think they could be in for a very frustrating afternoon. And I think again this could be a 0-0.
Yeah, difficult one, isn't it, when it comes to overs and unders, because we know that Southampton like to score, but Sunderland, you tend to think away from home they're fairly defensive. How do you see it on the goal count front? Yeah,
I'm quite happy to go under. I think the Saints could win this maybe 2-0, but it's all Butler's right again. We could see this being 0-0 for a long period. Maybe the goals might come in the last 25 minutes. If Saints get up early, they could be any score.
Yeah, might be one to trade that overs and unders market potentially. Let's kick on with more of the Premier League action. Tottenham, of course, in action. They take on Stoke at White Hart Lane. We can get the match prices first of all. One presumes, Butler, that Tottenham are short price favourites.
Yeah, Tottenham are. I mean, Stoke is all about their home form, isn't it? Whenever they're at home, they always can pull off a shock against a team like Tottenham. This time last year, this was the kind of game you look at Tottenham and say, I want to oppose them. But the way they ground out that 1-0 win against Swansea, had all the possession, but they managed to get the late goal. That wouldn't happen under Tottenham teams 2 years ago under Harry Redknapp, or even a year ago. AVB's gone in there and playing is a good team. And their first 11 is good, a squad, good team, you know. 8-13 Tottenham for this game. Stoke 11-2. I think people will be brushing the back Stoke. Not for me away from them. It's all about their home form. The draw 14-5. They will try to frustrate Tottenham. But I think this time last year, I would have made a case for the frustrating 14-5 and Stoke Tottenham to disappoint. But nowadays, I think Tottenham, in the next part of the season, next 2 months, I think they're a team to follow. I think they know their first 11. They're looking good. And at 8-13, maybe not the greatest value, but I think they're going to get 3 points.
Yeah, I think Gareth Bale as well. He's certainly fit. Whether he'll come back in, I'm not quite so sure. I mean, if he is fit, surely he's got to come straight back in, hasn't he?
Well, no, I would say maybe have him as an impact last 25 minutes, maybe half an hour, because they've got good balance throughout their squad. And you've got Adebayor and Defoe both playing. They were saying that one or the other. No, they're both playing. They've got good attacking options from midfield. For me, I think Tottenham are going to start cementing their place in the top 4. Yeah,
we can always see Stoke doing well at the Britannia, but away from home, I think it's always safe to say that they're just not the same side.
No, they're not because they don't have enough ball. And then when they do have ball, they go from back to front too early, and it isolates the centre forward. So for me, I think Tottenham will get up early and they'll secure the 3 points.
Goals and goal scorers. We need some thoughts, Butler.
I think it's quite a tricky one because obviously Stoke this season have been the punters' pals when you go under 2.5 goals, but predominantly it's always been at Britannia Stadium. They've got a very low scoring record away from home, only scoring 7, I think, goals on their travels. But this match always has a history of producing goals. I think there's been 12 in the last 4 years. There's been 3-2s, 3-0s, 2-2s, lots and lots of goals in the games these two play. And that reason here, under 2.5 goals may not be the value as it seems. I think Stoke, you know what they're going to do. They're going to try to frustrate Tottenham and try to grind out a 0-0 and hit them on the break from a set piece. If Tottenham get an early goal, they're going to win the game. And I think that could be the way forward. Look at the first 20, 15 minutes and then have a watch in it and see what you've got to do. On the other markets we'll have a look at the first goal scorer market. I think Tottenham now, used to say before you couldn't really split them, but he's going with Defoe. Defoe at 5-1 is his man. Adebayor will probably be settled for a place on the bench. Dempsey coming back to some form, playing something between his best that he was at Fulham last season. And I like Dembele always there. Whenever he's in the team, Tottenham don't get beat. For first goal scorer for Stoke, it's all about Crouch at 9-1, Walters 12, Adam at 16-1. We know how they're going to threaten. They're going to threaten from set pieces. But Defoe at 5-1 certainly gets the nod. If we look at the half-time, full-time markets, this is a very interesting one. I think if Stoke get something, it could be draw. That's the way they'll play it, 11-2. Or if Tottenham get out early, they will win the game. I think they'll win it comfortably. And Tottenham at 8-5 will be a little bit of popular for the punters out there. Stoke to win half-time, full-time is a 12-1 shot. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this game. And I can tell you boys, Tottenham are going to be the team that follow them next year.
Next year, they're always the team to follow next year. It's always next year. Mañana.
Yeah, it is. But I like Tottenham. I think Tottenham will finish in the top 4, providing they keep key personnel fit. I think they're going the right way. They've got good balance throughout. They've got good replacements coming in as well. I mean, when some of their players go out and get injured, then there's other players that come in and they don't weaken the side. So for me, I think Tottenham are going from strength to strength. Yeah, Tottenham to cement their place in the top 4 by beating Stoke. Next up, West Brom against Norwich. West Brom with the team the first, third of the season, quarter of the season. Not so now. Butler, how do we price this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, really, because I still think West Brom are being priced up as that sort of time. They're even money to win this game, which is very, very short, about a team that haven't scored in 4 games. Norwich have got this fantastic record. I think they have unbeaten 10 in the Premier League. Everyone thought they were going to come back to earth with a bang when they got beaten by Aston Villa in the Capital One Cup. They didn't. They went back and won the following week. 3-1 Norwich looks a big price to me. 13-5 the draw. Everyone goes on about West Brom. There's only one place separating these two sides in the Premier League table. And if Norwich win the game, they go over it. They go above West Brom. So the gap isn't as big as even money and 3-1. West Brom are still 100-1 to go down. I'm telling you now. We picked them up on the show, 8-1, 7-1 at the start of the season. I think you want to have a couple of quid in that because I think there could be 33-1 shots, 50-1 shots very quickly, and you might have a nice free bet. Might probably got enough points, but it might not look so silly when you come to the end of January. But West Brom, even money favourites, far too short.
Yeah, Yusuf Malumbu is out, I think suspended as well for this particular game. Malumbu has made more challenges, more tackles in that West Brom side than any other player. He could be a miss for West Brom. We've opposed West Brom with success, Flash, over the last few weeks. Are we going with Norwich again? How do you see it?
No, I'm going West Brom. I think West Brom are far too strong.
The tide is going to turn.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think the tide will turn. I just think they'll win this weekend. I still worry about West Brom getting over the line at the end of the season, we're having enough points, but because they've got so much early on, I think momentum will be with them, and they need to turn it around. And they've had back-to-back home games. I think that they'll win this weekend. West Brom to win. Goals and goal scorers. Butler.
Very, very difficult. I mean, this will be the market. You look at sort of old traditional odds in this market, 6-1, 15-2, not your 7-2s, because there's such an array of different players out there, and goals from each side come from all parts of the pitch. Grant Holt is the guy for Norwich. He's a 15-2 shot. Doubts whether he plays, so keep an eye out on your team news for that. Sean Long is a 6-1 shot. Odin Wingy, 7-1 shot. And this man here, Houlihan, I like the look of him. Always give him a chance. Plays just behind the front too. They're big playmaker. 14-1 Houlihan could be a bet. If we look at the over and under games, this is a very difficult one to call because West Brom at home never concede many goals. Norwich away from home never score many goals. But Norwich went to Reading and Swansea involved in an absolute humdinger 2 or 3 weeks ago, which makes that case go out the window. Under 2.5 goals, even money. That is where I'm heading. I've got to go under 2.5 goals. West Brom have only conceded 6 at the Hawthorns all season. They don't score many goals themselves, going for a scoring crisis, and Norwich away from home much defensive than they are at Carrow Road. So under 2.5 goals, even money. I'll be definitely having a few quid on that on Saturday. One more Saturday, 3 p.m. to look at. That features West Ham against Everton. Let's get straight back to the Butler with the match prices. Yeah, West Ham for Everton, a tough match to call, but the prices here, I was surprised to see this. West Ham 2-1, Everton 8-5. I don't think there's much in the two sides. West Ham kind of back in a little bit of a different form. The thing is, Everton draw so many games. I think they've drawn 7 of their last 9 games, including the one last week against Stoke. And the draw here at 12-5 represents first-rate value for me, 12-5. Everton away from home, they very rarely get beat. They very rarely get beat at home as well, but they draw more games. I think them and Stoke draw more games in the Premier League than any other side. West Ham will like to go into the Christmas period avoiding defeat, and I think the draw here at 12-5 definitely is where I'm heading.
Fellaini, of course, misses out for Everton. He's suspended. Everton's win percentage drops considerably when the Belgian doesn't play. Are you taking that into consideration, Flash, or do you see David Moyes' side winning?
Yeah, I like Everton. I do. I think something's got to fall for them. I mean, last week they were really unlucky. They should have maybe... they went to Stoke, they drew 1-1, and they could have won 3 or 4. So for me, I think West Ham, they're a bit one-dimensional, and they just hit it long. They get themselves around Carlton Cole, who's doing great, by the way. But I think Everton will win this, and I think they could win it 3-1.
But they are without their top goal scorer this season, so who's going to score the goals? Butler?
Yeah, surprising to say that for Fellaini, their top goal scorer, Jelavic, is the man. He's a proven goal scorer. He's 13-2 to get on the score sheet first. Naismith, 11. Lot Osmond, 14-1. About Cole, 15-2. Nolan would be my sort of headline tip for them at West Ham at 15-2. But if I was having a push, it's got to be Jelavic at 13-2. If we look at the over and under markets, it's all about under for me, Flash. I disagree with you again here. I think Everton have been involved in 4 1-1 draws in their last 5 matches. This game last season was 1-1. 1-1 could be a thing to look at in the correct score market around about 6-1, and under 2.5 goals at 9-10. Where the goal's going to come from, and that loss of Fellaini puts a big question mark on it for me. So I'm going under 2.5 goals. Disagreeing with my old mate Flash, who likes the overs at 11-10.
That's Butler and Flash's thoughts on plenty of the Saturday games. We've got much more to come, though. We're going to take a look at the televised action over the course of the weekend, so don't go away. More Premier League picks to come. Welcome back to the Punter final part as we delve into the televised fixtures over the course of this weekend and hopefully pinpointing some best bets. The first game that we're going to take a look at, Saturday tea time, Liverpool and Anfield take on Fulham. Nigel, when we were talking about Liverpool not so long ago, we were talking potential top 6, top 4. They were thumped by Aston Villa last weekend. Are they favourites to get back on track against Fulham?
They are favourites again, Dan. And the reason why they're favourites is because you out there, you punters, back them whatever price the bookmakers put up every single week. We've been sitting on the punter almost the whole season now. And we say every week saying that Liverpool are too short. If you back Liverpool every single week, you will lose money. On this occasion, they're playing a Fulham side 4-7. They are. I mean, obviously, they are expected to bounce back against Aston Villa on the defeat from Aston Villa. The problem is they had so many shots on target at Liverpool that people look at the stats and say, well, they're going to come good. They haven't come good for 1.5 seasons yet, but yet you always back them. There's always a gamble against them. But saying that, Fulham come to town, they're not in any good form. They've only won 1 of their last 6. There's always a question mark about Fulham on their travels, but people have said that about Aston Villa last week. 6-1, maybe some popular for you. A lot of punters out there, probably the smaller punters. The draw will be a 3-1 shot. I quite like the draw if I was pushed into a corner again. Liverpool 4-7. One thing you can guarantee about Liverpool, they will be backed and will go off shorter than 4-7 for the game. But as a bookie, you've got to take them on. And I'll tell you what, every bookmaker, William Hill, Coral, Ladbrook, Stan James, they'll be writing a big list of cards thanking Mr. Dalglish, Mr. Hodgson and Mr. Rogers for all their profits in the last season, because it comes from Liverpool, where you keep backing them and they keep not doing the business.
Are they going to do the business this time around? I've got to say, Flash, when we talked about the Liverpool-Villa game, you were cautious, weren't you? You said, look, you know, you've got to watch out for Villa because they had a really good result midweek. Fulham possibly not on the up as Villa potentially could be. How do you see this one?
I like the draw. I mean, I look at Liverpool, and Liverpool don't score enough goals. I mean, yes, they probably will go and thump somebody, but when you've got a team that doesn't score more than 1, then it brings in the draw always. I think Fulham, they need to start having a little bit more confidence away from home and just try and play the way they do at the Cottage. I normally say it's a lay for Fulham, but you can't lay Fulham and you can't lay Liverpool, so you end up with a draw. I think 1-1 draw.
How is it that some teams perform so well at home but just can't play away? I mean, you must have been in teams that have been in situations like that. Is it a psychological thing? Because surely the manager just sends the team out the same way, or does it?
No, you don't. You have a different game plan because you want to keep it. You want to keep it quite cosy for 15, 20 minutes, silence the crowd, and then get a foothold in the game. But when you're at home, you want to get the crowd on your side, and you're bombing. You just everything goes forward, everything's offensive. Whereas when you're away from home, you just do a little bit cagey.
Let's take a look at the specials, shall we, at Anfield? Let's hear from Nigel again, the bet butler.
Yeah, we look at the over-under markets. I mean, the interesting thing for me, 5 of the last 6 games between these two sides at Anfield, there's been under 2.5 goals. And including in that, it was 2 0-0s. Last season, Fulham went up to Anfield and won 1-0. So they're under 2.5 goals here. 6-5. I can't believe the price. Fulham are all about scoring goals at home, away from home, totally different side. Liverpool reliant so much on one man, Luis Suarez, to score the goals. If he doesn't score them, where are they going to come from? Under 2.5 goals, 6-5, a great back. And that Luis Suarez, 7-2 to score the first goal. Shows you how influential he is for that side. He's almost at half the price of the next person in, Shelby. Gerrard, not for me anywhere near the player has been in recent years. He's an 8-1 shot. For Fulham, Berbatov tops the market at 10. Petrick, a very, very good centre forward, but he's probably gone off the bench. I think he'll come on the last 10 or 15 minutes when Liverpool legs are tired. He scored against QPR. Rodallega, 11-1, scored against Newcastle recently. But if Suarez doesn't score, no, the Liverpool don't score. And under 2.5 goals. 5 of the last 6 years have been under. So under 2.5 goals, 6-5. Liverpool scoring goals at home. They don't do it.
Unders for you as well, Flash?
Yeah, you've got to. I mean, neither of them score goals. So I would say 1-1 draw.
Liverpool, a one-man team in terms of scoring goals. If Suarez isn't in form or isn't on the team sheet for whatever reason, are they going to struggle, long term? I mean, where do you see Liverpool ending up at the end?
No, I think...
Top 6? Top
No.
8? Top half?
Yeah, top half just.
Just. What about Swansea, Manchester United? Let's get the latest match prices here as we move it on to the Sunday fixtures. Butler.
Yeah, Manchester United obviously short for this game at 5-7. So we're not far off, around about 2-1 on. I think Manchester United will be backed. I think the results at the weekend will determine whether the money comes for Manchester United. If they have a good Saturday, then the money will come in for Manchester United. They're 5-7 to win this game now. I expect that to go shorter. The draw is a 3-1 shot. Swansea 9-2. Man United are on an exceptionally good run at the moment. They're scoring lots and lots of goals, conceding loads as well. So you've always got a chance in running. But Man United, odds on to win the game. And I expect more money to come for the Red Devils. I expect them to go off a nearer 2-1 on shots.
Flash, does Sir Alex Ferguson know his best team now? Because to me, those crucial wins, well, over Manchester City mainly, but Chelsea, if we go back further into the archive, I think the two teams were very, very similar. And obviously, Nemanja is coming back into their picture now in terms of the first team. But do you think Sir Alex Ferguson knows what his best team is?
Not only does he know what his best side is, I think he knows the formation to play. I think that diamond that they
It's
play.
interesting that he's played that this year because he's never played that.
No, he hasn't. But what it does, it frees up the fullbacks to get forward, and they've got like 4 or 5 people going into the box at any given occasion. So yeah, they score goals. They score goals from anywhere. So for me, I think Man United are a good value to win.
And he doesn't seem too concerned about not dominating possession as well, because United are such a good counter-attacking side. And against Swansea, you know that Swansea is still going to want to dominate the ball. That might be the way to play them.
Yeah, but when you look at the way the Man United are playing, if they're playing that diamond, whoever's sitting in behind the front is going to go and sit on Leon Britton and stop him like, getting on the ball and dictating the pace of the game. So for me, I think Man United will press high up the pitch, and I think they'll be miles too strong for Swansea.
And what sort of score would you say?
I'd like a 3-1 or a 4-2.
3-1, 4-2, something like that. We are predicting goals. Butler, how do you see it?
Yeah, you're probably not going to get very rich by backing these prices. I mean, over 2.5 goals is 4-7. 26 goals in the last 6 Premier League games for Manchester United. This game last season was a 1-0 win for United. They went there and ground it out. I don't think it'll be a repeat of that. I think Swansea always got a chance of scoring goals against a Manchester United team. I think both teams to score could be the way forward. But over 2.5 goals is a 4-7 shot. Over 3.5 goals is a 7-5 shot. If you want to take those short prices, be my guest, but I certainly wouldn't be looking at that for myself. If we look at the first goal scorer market, team news is crucial here. Van Persie, 15-4 to score the first goal. Rooney coming back to form. I don't think there's much between the two of them on current form. Rooney will probably hold a few quid of my money. He's a 9-2 shot with Hernandez 5-1. For Swansea, all about Michu. He's 7-1 to score the first goal. Best to back him to score at any time in the game rather than the first goal. And Graham, a 9-1 shot. If you look at the half-time, full-time, last season we saw Man United grind it out. It was a draw at half-time, a Man United victory full-time. That's a 4-1 shot. Man United is an 8-5. But I like these prices. I like Swansea to be leading at half-time. Manchester United full-time, because with goals in the game, gives you a chance. That's a 25-1 shot. And if you fancy Man United to lead at half-time and Swansea to come comeback as a 50 to 1 shot. Man United, a little bit too short to me at 8 to 5. Draw Man United, exactly what happened last year, 4. But go for this one. Swansea half-time, Man United at a massive 25 to 1.
25 to 1 if you like that. Just on the first goal scorer, we always try and spy some value, Flash. We always try and think, well, maybe a midfielder, maybe even a defender. Johnny Evans has popped up with 1 or 2. He's just signed a new deal, incidentally, today. But really, we've just got to go Van Persie or Rooney. You flip a coin, it's one of those two. I mean, they're in fantastic form. Obviously, they are a good partnership, aren't they?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they complement. The good thing is you've got right footer, you've got a left footer, so the balance is 100% right. You just bet them both to score at any time. Because as long as Man United score more than, say, 2 goals, then you're 9 times out of 10, they're both going to score.
And United to win pretty comfortably for you?
Yeah, as I say, 3-1 or 4-2.
Chelsea versus Aston Villa is the next game that we can take a look at. I think 1 or 2 thought that Chelsea might slip up against Leeds after that long-haul flight back from Japan. It wasn't the case, but they take on a resurgent Aston Villa form. Has that been reflected in the prices? Nigel?
Not really, Dan. I mean, Chelsea are 4 to 11 to win this game. Very, very short of an Aston Villa side who are looking good at the moment and coming good and scoring goals. I mean, they won this fixture 3-1 last season, Aston Villa, so they're not going to hold any fear of going to Stamford Bridge and getting a result. They're 19 to 2 to do so. I think the smaller punters out there will have a fiver and a tenner on Aston Villa. The more professional guys will be back in Chelsea for large amounts. But I think they're far, far too short at that price. The draws are 9 to 2 shot. I think Chelsea will win it. But I certainly don't represent any value in me at 4 to 11. And I think even though they're into the Capital One semi-finals, we're in a canter, I still think the Chelsea fans will be very disappointed about that performance in the World Club Championship against Corinthians. And Benitez could be in for a tough afternoon. And 4 to 11, far too short.
Yeah, too short for me. Flash, what about you?
I think it'll be a draw. The people were saying like the other night, I mean, they took like 45 minutes to get going against Leeds. But I think that it'll be this weekend where the fatigue will hit in, because it all sort of catches up with you. And we've got... They struggled, to be fair, for the first 45 minutes. And Leeds are nowhere near as strong as Aston Villa. I see Aston Villa full of confidence, and it's a bad time to be playing them if I was Chelsea.
Let's get some specials. Butler.
Yeah, we're looking at the first goal scorer markets here, but whenever these two sides play, there's always goals. 29 goals in the last 6 matches, so no goal scorer is not a runner in this game. Torres is back to his, well, not back to his best, but he's back to the market leader at 4 to 1, and he looks a little bit confident again. If you back him every week in the last couple of weeks, you'll be making some serious money. 4 to 1 to score the first. Mata, for me, the player of the year, 11 to 2 to get his wife. Hazard an 8 to 1 shot. Benteke, 11 to 1 for Aston Villa. He's going to be their main three. 20 years of age and absolutely no fear, and he'll go to Chelsea there where they won 3-1 and try to do what they did against Liverpool last season. If we look at the Liverpool last week. If we look at the over-under markets, it's all about over for me. 8 to 15 is very, very, very short. But this is an Aston Villa side who've been involved in a 3-1 away win at Liverpool, involved in a 4-1 away win at Norwich in their last 2 away games. Compare that to Chelsea. They won 5-1. They've won 6-1 at Northland. There is goals, goals, goals in this game. Over 2.5 is 8 to 15. Over 3.5, 11 to 8. Very, very short. But you can only see things one thing on the Christmas menu, goals. If we look at the half-time, full-time markets, Chelsea have been battering teams in the first half and coming back. They didn't do it against Leeds. Leeds were in the lead at half-time and Chelsea was a full-time result. And if you fancy a repeat of that, Aston Villa to be leading at half-time and Chelsea full-time is a 28 to 1 shot. Villa, 20 to 1 shot. That's a big, big price that about a side that did that last week against Liverpool. Chelsea, odds on 10 to 11. Swerve that like the plague. You'll not be back in that. Draw Chelsea 8 to 5, 18 to 5. But all the value in these markets all lie with Villa, but I think there's goals in it. I think both teams to score at a rather decent price could be the best way to play the game.
Yeah, both teams to score is interesting, and I guess, Flash, just very briefly on the forward line of Aston Villa, they've got it right, haven't they, with Benteke and Weimann? Those two players seem to be doing the business for Paul.
Yeah, and they've got Agbonlahor as well, who's playing it in more of a wider role, and yet they have pace. Whenever you've got pace on the break, then you're always going to be dangerous. And all of a sudden, we said earlier, they've got confidence, they work hard. I think they'll get in Chelsea's faces. Yeah,
it could be interesting. That Club World Cup just well catch up with Chelsea at the weekend. It'll be fascinating to see how Paul Lambert's side tackle Rafa Benitez's team at Stamford Bridge. Well, that wraps up all of the punter for this edition. Many thanks to Flash and the Bet Butler, Nigel Seeley. From me, Dan Roebuck, it's goodbye, and we'll see you next time.